Traffic. This is a heavy vehicle. We do think that this is a stolen dump truck. We want to go right to the telephone right now. We have Travis Monks from the CHP with us this afternoon. Travis, are you there, sir?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Tell us about this pursuit, what you know about the driver.
Well, the details of the driver we're not releasing at this point, but I can tell you a little bit after 1 o'clock, pursuit was started by Ontario Police Department. What you see on your TV there is a truck carrying a roll-off container that is stolen. The GPS device on the truck went off, and shortly after that, Ontario PD got the signal and started the pursuit on eastbound 60. We took over the pursuit a little bit after 1:30 on the 15 freeway, and as you can see, that it's started in Ontario and it's all the way down in North County, San Diego now.
When we talk about a vehicle of this size and this weight, what are the particular dangers?
Well, you know, every time you deal with somebody that's pursuing law enforcement, there's all kinds of numerous dangers out there that we have to take into account. This one, luckily, the traffic is light. The speeds aren't too crazy. Right now, the last posted speed is about 80 miles per hour. We are always looking for the safety of the public. That is our number one concern. As you can see, the officers have backed off a little bit on that truck.
And they're pulled back on it because?
I'm sorry?
They pulled back because?
Well, you know, we have an airship overhead, and so we don't need to be right up on it. And with that, we're hoping that the driver will reduce their speed and hopefully just pull over and we can end this thing safely.
The initial report was that the driver of this dump truck apparently tried to run over an officer. Is that correct?
That is correct. Ontario PD motor officer.
And we do believe this is a stolen dump truck. You said the GPS was deployed?
Correct. Right after it was entered in the system, the GPS tracker went off and Ontario PD initiated the pursuit.
And there was some video from earlier. This dump truck, the storage unit on the back kind of bumping around the faster he went.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the speeds reached up over 90, and then it's dropped back down to about 70, 80 miles per hour.
And for the most part, he's staying on the freeway, but he did get off the freeway. He was on surface streets around Lake Elsinore, went through the city there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And we don't have any injuries right now?
No, everything is staying pretty safe. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that the motoring public and everybody out there stays safe and we can end this thing safely and quietly.
I would imagine a pit maneuver is not an option because of the size of this vehicle. What about spike strips?
You know, we will take whatever means necessary as long as it's safe.
So spike strips could be an option?
Absolutely.
And have you been in contact with the driver?
No, we have not been in contact with the driver.
So the plan right now is just to follow this driver. What happens if he gets all the way to the border?
Well, that's going to be a scenario that we're going to have to deal with if it does happen.
All right, that is CHP spokesman Travis Monks joining us this afternoon. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your insight again. This is CHP in pursuit of a stolen dump truck. You see it there, right side of your screen. Travis telling us it's going about 80 miles an hour on the I-15 southbound, passing vehicles very closely. The pit maneuver is not an option because of the size of this vehicle. It's very heavy. It's very big. It creates, of course, some more dangerous conditions for the officers who are in pursuit. And you can see him right now. He's getting over to the far left side of the freeway right there. He's been on surface streets for a while, through Lake Elsinore, got off the freeway in Temecula, just south of Temecula, got off the freeway, went through a gas station there. We don't know of any accidents or injuries to report, but again, this started just after 1 o'clock when he apparently tried to run down an Ontario police officer.
And when that happens, it's assault with a deadly weapon there, and they're off to the races. So this isn't something that they're necessarily going to go into some kind of a surveillance mode. Sometimes they'll do that. They'll back off completely and have the helicopter go into a surveillance mode. They're certainly not going to do that. They are on it, but they have backed off a little bit so as not to pressure them into making any kind of major decisions that would endanger the public, as you can see there. But again, a high-profile vehicle, which also makes it very difficult for officers because they can't see in a normal vehicle where you could kind of see through a back window or that kind of thing. They have no way of getting eyes on him other than either coming up next to the truck or from the helicopter being able to use their camera and their equipment to get that view.
It's pretty impressive that he's been able to maintain control of this vehicle at 80 miles an hour. I would imagine that's over the recommended speed limit for this vehicle, certainly above the speed limit on the freeway. And that's a difficult thing to drive a truck that big, that heavy, especially if you have no experience.
Well, that's the thing. It's a stolen truck, so this is not someone who necessarily has that class driver's that type of license. And they're now going to be running into this traffic in San Diego. And as anybody who's driven down south knows, you start getting closer to downtown San Diego and down to the border there, you start running into a lot of traffic, and that really makes it very difficult when you're trying to maneuver. And you can see he's kind of maneuvering different lanes to try and get around some of this traffic, but it's not like driving a regular car when you're doing that.
And CHP staying right on his tail there. You see the two pursuit vehicles just behind him. He has managed to avoid other vehicles on the freeway, and for the most part, the other drivers are not getting out of the way. Perhaps they don't understand what's going on. They see a dump truck behind him. Can't tell if the CHP has their flashing lights on, but normally they would have their lights flashing. And you can see the back of that storage unit on the truck is empty. We've seen it bouncing around a little bit when he increases speeds and hits some bumps, but just a dangerous situation now, headed toward Mira Mesa. Just went past the 56 freeway, still on the 15 southbound.
And this is called a roll-off, so it's a bin that's on the truck. It's not, I mean, it's certainly attached to the truck, but it's not part of the truck. So that's why we were talking about the bouncing of that bin in the back there. Again, adds another complexity to this situation here. But you know, a heavy vehicle driving down the street there at 80 miles an hour being pursued by officers makes it very hard. And you're right, the traffic in front, if they're just seeing that truck behind you, you can see every so often the cruisers kind of sneak out behind so that, you know, they get the traffic can see that the lights and sirens going, but it comes up on you pretty quick.
If you are just joining us, this is live breaking news coverage. This pursuit of a dump truck, sort of unusual. We've seen all sorts of things pursued. Can't remember a dump truck recently, but Sky 9 overhead. This is near Mira Mesa. It started just about 1 o'clock this afternoon in Ontario, and the report was that this driver in a stolen dump truck was wanted for assault on an officer, apparently tried to run over an Ontario police officer. CHP picking up the pursuit at about 1:30 this afternoon. It's been, for the most part, on the I-15 southbound Ontario through Lake Elsinore, through Riverside County, into San Diego County, and speeds up to 80 miles an hour. And you can see the CHP is staying right there, safe distance behind them, but just not giving up.
What will happen is you have the primary officer who's going to take control of the pursuit, and that's that first cruiser that you see behind the truck. And then there will be a secondary officer, and the responsibility of that secondary officer is to call out the communications, you know, call out the different overpass, the different exits that this pursuit is passing, so that everybody involved knows where this is, what's going on, and the latest update on the pursuit, so that that primary officer can stay right on the truck and focused on that. So they're working together in that way.
And we can see he's kind of bouncing around the freeway now. He was far left side. Now he went to the far right side, back into the number 2 lane. It looks like he might be exiting the freeway right here. And we've seen him do that before. He got off in Temecula, got off in Lake Elsinore, went through the freeway. But again, he's going to have to really slow down. We've got dangerous conditions when you are involving other vehicles, and you see the other vehicles right in front of him are stopped, and it looks like he is going to stop as well, at least slow down. And we'll see what the CHP does.
Now, normally in this kind of situation, this is an opportunity for that pit maneuver, because anytime a vehicle is going to make a turn, they can do that. You can't do it with this, of course, because it is of the size and nature of this vehicle, so that's not an option here. But whenever you know, a suspect feels trapped, as it is in this kind of situation, it ups the ante for the officers. And you can see now this driver is going onto these city streets, which makes it all the more difficult. Wide
right turn, and it looks like CHP might be on the other side, going the wrong way in traffic, and it looks like they might try to block him in there, pulling right up beside him. They're going to let this guy see what he is going to do.
Normally, the advantage is you have a cruiser that can manipulate and take control of a vehicle, but unfortunately,
very close to that car right there.
Unfortunately, the truck driver has a little bit of an edge in that he has the bigger vehicle.
And the fact that he has slowed down so much, looks like he's pulling into a parking lot. We've seen him do this in Temecula. He pulled into a gas station lot, and it doesn't look like he's leaving himself anywhere to go. Doors open. He's out of the vehicle.
And he's running.
And he's going to take off. He is not going to comply with the officer's order. CHP right behind him. We see at least 2 officers in pursuit. under some sort of covering there.
Looks like a gas station there. And there's really nowhere for him to go, and it doesn't look like the officers are running around frantically right now, so they may be code 4 right now. They are running in there.
Dangerous situation. Again, we know this is a suspect who attempted an assault on an officer in Ontario. Tried to run the officer down with that dump truck, then took off. Ontario police in pursuit, and then CHP picked up the pursuit. It looks like they are still looking for him. Again, this appears to be perhaps a Shell gas station. This is near Mira Mesa, just off the 15 freeway. We saw him exit the freeway just about a minute ago, got out of the truck, and took off running.
And it looked like there was just one suspect that ran out of that truck. And you have that, all the officers then approach him and get him into custody very quickly. Again, not a whole lot of places to run. And you can see everybody kind of circling
see the
around
news
there.
media,
We see the
the
news media
TV
circling around there.
stations
It's
are
tough to see, tough when you lose it under that awning there. But again, you look for the demeanor of the officers under there, and there's an officer sort of walking away. His back to the scene.
And the fact that they're letting the
Yeah.
TV news photographers get so close would indicate that perhaps they do have the suspect in custody. Certainly, they do their best to protect citizens and the media, and they're not going to let the media get very close if the suspect has not been captured.
And keep in mind, this is someone who tried to run a motor officer down, so they're taking this very seriously.
Looks like the K9 unit is there as well. It looks like this gas station may be closed. I see some yellow caution tape there, so perhaps not many customers around. Looks like some cones in the driveway as well. Again, this is a live breaking news coverage of a pursuit of a dump truck, and we're now getting word that perhaps the suspect is indeed in custody. We're seeing CHP under the protective covering of this gas station. This is near Mira Mesa, where the suspect took off. The pursuit lasted almost 2 hours, started just after 1 o'clock this afternoon, so coming up on the 2-hour mark, but now we're getting word that the suspect, the driver, is in custody. We'll take a quick break. We'll be